Hello. Today I will prepare stuffed cabbage or cabbage stuffed the Egyptian way. Or rather, I will prepare it in my own simple way. This video will be comprehensive, starting from boiling the paper, passing through the sweet stuffing, and the correct way of flattening. What you get stuffed with cabbage is right without loosening or kneading. If you like this video, do like, and let's get started. The first thing we choose is medium or small size cabbage. My cabbage is a little bigger than that, but I reduced it to a little paper before filming. To make it easy to move in front of the camera. The first thing we need to get rid of this part. I pocket a knife and begin to separate this piece from the cabbage. She is responsible for the consistency of the paper. When we get rid of it, it will be very easy for us to separate the paper. You have two ways to boil. Either we separate the paper and boil each one alone, and this way I will return it more if beginners. If we always boil cabbage, we can take all the cabbage one by one and put it in hot boiling water, and the open side is down. And every 5-year-old masla like this, we withdraw a paper. I will work with the first method, which is the simplest thing you can do if you are a beginner or the first time making stuffed meat. It will be very easy with you. Boil hot water on the fire. I do not add cumin to it if you like. I go down with the cabbage leaf and follow its maturity. You will need approximately 10 years, 15 years. In general, the types of cabbage differ. Paper types and sizes vary. It does not have a stable rule, but you will notice the color has changed a bit. Cabbage paper is thinner. I take out the paper on a wide tray and put it on its own so that it can air out a little. Cabbage leaf is not on top of each other. This is not true. Okay, if I am a beginner and it is the first time to boil cabbage, and I would like to know whether my leaves are climbing correctly or not. You will hold the paper like this after boiling and you will notice that it's easy to receive in the hands. Soft like this, as you see. Also, when I lay it out like this and tighten it a little bit, it doesn't break easily. This is how my paper boiled. Right, it's not strong, cohesive, and it does not climb so strong that it breaks off from the slightest movement. I take the paper and start to get rid of this thick part. Spread the paper in front of me and then remove the area with thick veins. Then I roll the paper like this and divide it according to the size and length of the stuffing that I like. I would like the size of a finger of stuffing, so I will divide the paper on this basis. When I open each sheet of them, it becomes such a long roll. I can divide it according to the size of the stuffing paper, and this will make it very easy for me to stuff easily. The paper will be cut and ready next to me, all in one size. The topic is simple, strong, and will not need any time with you. You will divide all the papers, and you can also store it if you like. If you store paper, this method of preservation will be better. I wrap each roll like this, and then I motivate it in the same way in conservation bags and get any extra air out of it. I finished boiling, cutting, and dividing paper in a very simple time. You won't take any fatigue or effort with you. The second thing I will prepare will be the stuffing mix. I love the cabbage mixture, especially if it is mixed, not intentional. Mashi loves oil. I added half a cup of oil here. They have a large hanging of municipal obesity. Or we can add butter if you like. However, we rely more on the cabbage stuffed mixture on oil than on butter or obesity. As soon as the obesity has completely settled, I add 4 chopped onions to them. The 4 onions I used were medium size. Cabbage also loves onions. It tastes much better. Don't let the onions be strong, which means they should be chopped medium. I don't want to add tom, if you would like to add. Sauté the onions for a few minutes, from 3 to 4 minutes, until they become soft. Its color changes a bit, but it doesn't stay golden. Don't fry the onions. On the onions, I added 2 tablespoons of tomato sauce. The sauce, when mixed with the onions, is like this in the first place, and the oil gives a better taste to any recipe. As for the spices, I will add them twice. I will add part of the casting here, and another part I will add to the mixture in the end. Mashi especially doesn't like a lot of spices. It becomes lighter and tastes better when the spices are less. We make stuffed, not grilled chicken. We are satisfied with just a small spoonful of salt, a small spoonful of cumin, and a small spoonful of dry coriander, and with them a small spoon of sugar for the sauce. I don't add more than that. If you want to add more sauce, that's up to you. Mint is also more suitable for the mixture of grape leaves. You don't prefer to add it to the cabbage stuffed mix. I stirred a little, then added half a kilo of tomato juice. Stuffed tomatoes are not filtered. We squeeze it in a very small amount of water, and then we take it like this as it is added. Just like that, we light the fire and let this alloy move and evaporate any extra liquid in it. and the alloy on the fire like this. Every little while, turn it from the bottom up so that it does not burn with you. In the end, extinguish the fire, and this will remain its strength in the end. Heavy cast iron and red color like this. Turkey will make a strong difference with you. Let the alloy cool before you add it to the rest of the mixture. If you add hot water to the rice, you will hasten to settle the rice for a while. Mix it like this while it is cold together so that the rice stays firm in its texture and stays a little peppery with us. We also need the stuffing mix, coriander, and dill. I don't add parsley to the cabbage mixture. In contrast to the mixture of grape leaves, I add parsley to it. Parsley change the taste of cabbage a bit. You see this part of dill or coriander that are these long branches. I will cut it and leave it on the side, and I will tell you what we will do with it later. Coriander and dill are very finely chopped. I will also need ½ kilo of Egyptian rice, which has been washed, not soaked, and drained well with plenty of water. You prepare the rice and wash it thoroughly before adding it to the mixture. Don't wash the rice, I'll filter it and leave it on the side. A grain of rice will be broken with you. I also add a grain of raw onion, and it is also preferable if the onion, which you know is golden white, remains intoxicating and tastes very sweet. Add it like this to the mixture. This will taste crazy. I will also need the same spices that I added to the mixture in the first place, which is cumin, coriander, and salt. I will also add a pinch of black pepper to them in the end. I bring a deep dish that is large in size so that I can easily turn around in it. Add the alloy to it after it cools down. I also added ½ kilo of Egyptian rice here. ½ kilo of tomatoes means ½ kilo of Egyptian rice. They added dill and coriander. I also added an intentional onion here, and they have cumin, coriander, and salt. A small spoonful of everything they need. I also added a quarter cup of oil to make the rice more flaky. And the last thing is a small pinch of black pepper. In our hands, we turn this mixture well and strong until it remains like this. If you're not noticed, it is red. The greens are not too strong and not too little. Also, you will feel a hint of oil, which means that it is very accurate. You can taste a little something like this to see if the salt is right or not. Also, don't forget that I will add salt in the end as well with the soup. Try to balance the percentage of salt in the whole recipe. I bring the soup that I will stuff in and start preparing it. I spread a layer of cabbage leaves underneath. Leftover paper or boiling, cutting, and these things. We can put it down on the floor. On them are the branches of dill and coriander that came out of the cutting. They give a crazy flavor to stuffing. The size of the stuffed or the finger fish of the stuffed has many opinions and sayings. There are those who like it a little chewy and say, "Oh, stuffed meat, don't stir it, but don't worry." And there are those who like it small, and there are also those who like the middle. I am from the category that loves the middle. I hold the paper like this between my hands, add the rice, and begin to roll and tighten the paper well. It doesn't stay aerated, as they say. This helps more that the stuffed finger does not break with you at the time of settlement. The most important thing is, when we roll stuffed fingers, the stuffed should be clean from the outside, and there is no rice on it. Even when we are stacking the layers of stuffing, there is no rice left on the outside of the stuffed fingers. Stuffed cabbage, when we put it in the pot, do not press the fingers of the stuffed together too much so that the soup enters from these spaces and takes one settlement. Something very important too. Don't fill the stuffed suit on the other. This means that there is room for the soup to boil at its own convenience. Also, the rice inside the stuffing has just doubled in size. If we fill the suit on the other, he will not mature well with us completely. Branch this point. Choose the size of the pot and the amount of stuffing that you make. Stuffed is not stored in the freezer. It will be broken with you a little. We can keep the paper alone in the freezer, and the mixture in a preservation bag. The mixture bears with you in the preservation bag for a week, and the paper sits with you, meaning a month or two, and it is stored very normal, and nothing will happen to it. But if it is a meal, and we prepare it a day or two before it, we can make the whole stuffed case. And bear with us 2 days in the refrigerator without settling, provided we cover it well and take it out 2 hours before settling. But if it is determined, we will prepare an amusement for it a day or two before. We can make a very normal stuffed case, and bear with us 2 days in the refrigerator without settling. The most important thing is to cover it well and take it out 2 hours before settling from the refrigerator. We come to the most important thing, which is to settle the cabbage. Don't cover it with soup. Add the soup, but the one before the level of the last layer. I always like to add the syrup to the stuffing gradually. When the soup comes to a boil, it naturally rises over the first layer and covers it all. I bring a plate that can bear the heat and spread it on the face like this. This will help that the stuff does not fall apart with me. In the first place, I open a high fire until it boils like this with me. If you notice, the soup covered the first layer with boiling. I cover the pot and leave the stuff on a high heat while watching until the level of the soup starts to decrease with me. You will notice that the stuffed meat started to absorb the soup like this. Meanwhile, remove the dish from the stuffing. If you are not sad, not a paper has been dislodged or taken out, even the rice that was inside it at the time of settlement. It's very true. I'm going to calm down the fire at all, or I'm going to move my suit on a little quiet fire. And every little bit, I'll add some soup and cover. Means a small amount in a small amount. The best settlement for cabbage is really adding the soup like this gradually. If you drowned it in soup from the beginning, there is a high probability that it will knead and loosen. Every little bit we follow maturity. We can take one out and eat it and see what the news is. I don't get one out. As long as I cook this stuffed on the fire. Can I get out 1, 2, 3? What do you mean? Let's see. Do you need a smoothie to settle a little bit of paper? Rice from the inside of masala. Oh, it still needs time. This topic needs follow-up from us. Based on this, we will see if we need masala to add some small soup and cover it. That means, try this method, and the result will remain the best stuffed cabbage suit. You will really be crazy. And not a single follower of al-mashi will break with you. The paper is very mature. Climb right and take a right level. We shake the suit and turn it over while it is hot like this and eat. Or we can offer it like this if you like. Look how shiny it is on the outside, and how is the rice inside covered with pepper. I will wait for your opinion when you try it. This is how our recipe today is finished. I hope with all my heart that you like it. If you like this video, don't forget to like it. See you later.